I don't believe, for instance, that people are so left and right. You know what I mean? There's this.
You're
We've been.
wrong.
we- there you go. I mean, we've been indoctrinated by the media and by this whole perpetual political power struggle that you're either here or there. But you know what? If you're on the left and I'm on the right, or vice versa, doesn't matter. We probably have even more. I'm going to make it even more difficult. Let's say we have even more things we disagree on that are not even accounted for in this definition of left or right. I'm saying there's even more than that. We as human beings, each of us is novel and unique and original, and we have very different perceptions, and preferences, and and aspirations and goals. Okay, so even more than just being on the left or being on the right. The point is, when Mary asks, can we, just do we have to agree with each other, or when Christopher says, maybe we just need to stop judging each other. So you're saying it's impossible. It's impossible to agree with each other, and it's impossible to stop judging each other, right? Because
That's what I said.
okay, so let's
That's what I said
let's
because a maggot is not supposed to become a sunflower. He's supposed to be a maggot. He's got a role to play. And in fact, it's an
but
important role.
okay, here is what we're missing though. Both the maggot and the whatever, the deer, what do you want? What do you want to
Yeah.
add there? Both
On
the
the side of the
maggot
road,
and
yeah.
the deer, they all have different yet complementing functions in the natural ecosystem, right? In our bodies right now, there are cells that are extremely different. They have a different view of economics. The cells in your heart operate very differently from the cells in your liver, from the cells in your lungs, and from the cells in your foot. And you have different cells that are performing very different functions when it comes to how they use energy, or how they expend energy, or
So
how they
when
conserve energy. They have very different worldviews, about economics, about politics, about borders, about whether they should allow new immigrants. I'm talking about the body right now, right? Your 100 trillion cells in your body right now. They each have those groups. They have very different worldviews. They have very different policies. They have very different functions, and yet there's one thing that connects all of them, and that is that they are interdependent, and they somehow magically, that's the secret of nature. That's the mind of nature. That's the intelligence that is greater than the individual. It's the collective mind that makes up the superorganism that we call you.
if we dial into each and every detail of, oh, there's some kind of racism over here, there's some kind of anti-Semitism over here, there's some kind of misogyny over here, we're missing, from it we have an emotion. It helps us, it points us towards wanting to find an answer, but the answer is not going to be in remaining on that same clash. That's not where the answer of the human body is. It's one system. When you open up and see that it's one system and all of the parts work together, so then you have a healthy human body. If you go inside and you look at one organ is trying to excrete and another organ is trying to intake, they're performing opposite functions, and they're each fighting over their own borders, and this one's trying to keep this out and this one's trying to move this in, and there's some kind of harmony. So what we want to do and need to know is saying is the common denominator is COVID the enemy. Where do we take it? So we're actually not looking at COVID even as the enemy.
COVID is a balancing force. That's it. What does nature do? Nature creates life, evolves life, and sustains life. And in order to do so, it constantly balances what's out of balance. That's what nature does. So to look at COVID as some anomaly or as some enemy is just a very short-sighted, fragmented perception of what's actually happening. This is the first step that's already will solve so much of the violence, so much of the extreme scenarios will be solved if we just all start raising our awareness to the fact that we are interconnected, we are a single system, we are all bound by laws of nature, and we are all somehow are connected to a collective organism bigger than our individual worldviews. That's the first step. We have to recognize that we're interdependent. We don't have to agree with each other. We do not have to have the same traits and qualities and perceptions and motivations as the other people that are not in our in-group have. We don't need to have, we're not supposed to, just like the different spleen and liver in our bodies, right? But the spleen and liver, they both serve the single body that they are part of. So the first step is just that education. Just being aware of that, I'm certain will already solve a lot of the attitude will change. The direction will change. By knowing that, by internalizing that we are connected to each other, that we're part of a single thing, even if I'm different than you, I understand that I depend on you. What can I do? I can't, you cannot divorce from humanity. Your cells cannot divorce your body. It doesn't work that way. It's just, like it or not, nature put us together. Now what do we do? Let's get even deeper. So, no, we're not supposed to agree with each other. We're not supposed to change each other also, which is something that in this whole political climate, this is what essentially one side is trying to do to the other side. I'm trying to either change you or I'm trying to coerce you, kill you. Yeah, that's already we're still on the diplomatic level, Seth. We're I'm not trying to kill you yet. I'm trying to kill your view is basically what I'm trying to do. To kill your viewpoint, your stance, your ideology or whatever it is. So we're not supposed to coerce each other. We're not supposed to agree with each other. We're not supposed to change each other. We're not even supposed to prove each other wrong. We are supposed to find a higher, more advanced level of consciousness where our opposites become our strength, where our differences complete each other, where they enable us to create something bigger than ourselves. Now, how do we do that? How do we do that? Right? That's basically the question. That's the peace in the world question. And that's where it gets difficult to explain and difficult to do, but we have to get involved with nature itself. This is the thing. We cannot do this. We can't do this by ourselves. We are dealing with a force that is greater than us. We are talking about tapping into the mind of nature. We're talking about activating the very force of nature that creates life. That's what needs to happen between human beings. This is the great transition that we're now talking about.
Did you want to get to another question?
There's a question here that could be a good concluding question here from Reina Rachel, okay. And she's saying, when are we as a world going to reach that? Be part of the whole, be in harmony with each other. I didn't really think about answering that. I was just thinking about reading that because it's a beautiful. It feels like a wish more than a question. It feels like a desire, like an aspiration, more than a question. And you know what, Reina? Maybe this is the answer. Maybe that's all we need to do. See, reality doesn't work based on our five senses. The actions that we think we need to do when it comes to nature, we are so limited in our understanding of how the natural forces activate us and how and what kind of function is required of us. But really, the unique function of human beings is not our politics, it's not our science even, it's not our intellect, it's not about how smart we are, it's not about how much we do with the ecology, even though that surely needs to be fixed. There's a lot of things that we do wrong in this world. But really, the function that is unique to human beings, that nature as if wants to elicit from us, wants to squeeze out of us, is that unique frequency of the human heart, of our intention, of our desire to actually discover that we are parts of a single body, to discover that we are one thing. There was a question there, I can't remember from whom, and we didn't get to reading it in the flow, but someone asked when we said we do one our part and nature does the rest. So that's the answer for you as well. That's exactly what needs to happen. We need to do just our part. Evolution will do the rest. What is the rest? The rest is creating a new level of life between human beings. This is what's happening right now. It's not just finding, a new leader. It's not about finding a vaccine. If we just find a vaccine and deal with COVID, another schmovid or blovid or whatever it is, as Seth beautifully coined it in one of our shows, will come. The only way for us to rise to a new level is to activate our desire to do that, raise our consciousness, educate each other, want that, and by that we will start tapping into the mind and force of nature. And it will raise us, it will elevate us. And from there, from a new level of life, from a new level of experience with each other and nature and everything around us, we'll start creating a new world. And this song hits it right on the head.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you Thursday, 2 p.m.
Big
Eastern.
hug. Thanks, Asaf. Amazing to be with you again today. Thank you, everybody. Big hug.
What's near and what's far, revealed and concealed in us, all is one.